This is...
Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker, da-da.
I still don't get that title necessarily.
But it's the greatest title I've ever heard.
And it's Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker?
Yeah.
Okay. I keep wanting to call it just like a bunch of B's, like Butcher, Baby, Barbecue, Back Rib, Burn House.
Yeah, Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker doesn't fit very well, but I like the name.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of the most appealing parts of the movie. I didn't realize I had added, I don't know if I added it to like my actual watch list or if I added it to just like I saved it on Facebook. This is on my cinema tab saved thing, so it's on my watch list when I eventually go through in a year and find all the shit I've been saving. But I had saved a screenshot from this movie because I was like, hey, because I genuinely thought the actor for Sarah Palmer from Twin Peaks was in the movie, and it's just an actor that looks a lot like her. So I was like, oh, cool, she was in a slasher movie before Twin Peaks? I gotta check that out. And then I did. This week.
Yeah.
And you'll hear my thoughts.
I can tell by Thomas's tone of voice that they're not going to be very positive.
Well, I mean, okay. To kind of sum it up, slasher movies, like, in the wake of Halloween from, like, 1980 to, like, 1980... I think it's, like, around 1984 when slashers started kind of, like, getting, like, oh, we can kind of, like, do some weird stuff and branch out here and add some 80s flavor in here. That's kind of, like, fun and zany. A lot of, like, the early 80s movies, while I think that there's good stuff in the early 80s slasher genre, a lot of it is samey. And it's, like, with both of these movies, it's, like, I've watched a decent handful of, like, those early 80s slashers in my years, and... In my years, and they're just, like, they all feel the same. They've all got kind of, like, a same vibe to them. A lot of them do. And it's just like,
Alright, so here's the top 5 reasons Thomas is wrong. Number 1. I don't have any. I disagree. Well, sort of, but we'll get into that soon.
That doesn't necessarily, I think, the movies we watch today are good or bad.
Yeah. No, I get you. I gotta figure out what the fuck is going on with the webcam that I have for you, because the last couple episodes is like every once in a while.
Huh.
It's just because Screen Weens is too powerful. Anyway,
so.
Have you done anything else this week?
I started reading the how do I pronounce it? Arrancar arc. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. There's a lot of things that, because I'm still like real early into it. There's still like a lot of things where it's like, I don't know if I like. A slight spoiler for Bleach. This isn't like a huge spoiler for people who are into the series or even somewhat, but like...
Ichigo he becomes a substitute Soul Reaper.
Well, the Ichigo's dad thing. I had known that was a thing, but I thought it was going to be like, kind of like what happened to everybody else, where it's like just the people around Ichigo started to like get like spiritual presence, and maybe he would just be like, yo, it's going straight to Soul Reaper. But so I'm not entirely sure how I felt about that reveal, and I guess it'll just depend on how they decide to go about it. But I'm not a big fan of the we're not gonna even let Ichigo know at this point in the story, and it's like I get it. Like, I can be a fan of, like, that kind of bomb under the table storytelling, but it's just not... I don't know yet.
Yeah. I will say when that reveal happened, the first reveal, like, when I was watching the anime, it blew my fucking mind. I was like, no way!
I think I would have liked it if it had a little bit more build-up, but he, like, references a scene and a callback to, like, yeah, we had build-up. I didn't call Ichigo by his name when it was
I knew it wasn't you.
And I didn't bother to go back and see. Part of me like, that doesn't seem like a thing that was planned. That just seems like something he's like, is there anything he didn't do that in this scene. Yes! But who knows? Maybe he had that planned and he was just playing the ultimate subtlety game with it.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Okay. So started reading some more Bleach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much been it. I haven't really been doing much this week. Long week.
Let's see. What did I do this week? Watch The Green Knight.
Yeah, I've been hearing great things about it.
I loved it. Some of the people I went with did not like it, but I really, really liked it. But, if you don't like a ghost story, you might not like The Green Knight.
Well, I don't know. Is there more than just, like, one fucking thing happening throughout the movie?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but...
It does. Please tell me it doesn't have a weighty dialogue scene where one character bumbles off all of the movie's themes right there.
I don't think you understand that scene, though.
I don't.
No.
I'll rewatch the movie because it's been a couple years. Maybe I'll have developed differently and think differently on that movie. But I don't know. I didn't jive with a ghost story.
Sure.
We'll cover it it'll probably be our most interesting episode. If we did, like, a ghost story.
We'll just wait for The Green Knight to come out on Blu-ray.
Because, we never really are, like, totally on opposite ends, and if we are, we're willing to kind of, like, alright, whatever, it's your opinion.
Literally, the biggest, like, spectrum difference for us was, I think, Brown Bunny.
Yeah. Which... you explained some of the things you liked about that movie, and it kind of clicked for me why people would like that movie more, and I was like, okay.
And I totally understand why people would not like that movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand why people wouldn't like The Green Knight and A Ghost Story. Like, I get it. I also watched Phone Booth, the Joel Schumacher film with Colin Farrell.
I've heard about that one. I haven't watched it.
It's really fun. Like, I really enjoyed it. It's like really short. There's not a lot of fat to it. It's like, hey, he gets in the phone booth like 10 minutes in, and then he's in the phone booth.
Yeah. Have you seen In Bruges before?
Yeah. I really enjoy In Bruges.
Yeah, that's good.
I really enjoyed Phone Booth. Kiefer Sutherland is really good in it. He's he's the phone guy.
Mm.
He's great in it. And then same thing. We're continuing MCU stuff. We watched The Winter Soldier and the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I liked the first Guardians of the Galaxy a lot more than I remember liking it. Like I had a lot of fun with it. And The Winter Soldier I liked a little less. I understand why it's a lot of people's favorite MCU movie, but it's a little bland and it's a little long, and they try to introduce a lot of characters and it doesn't work super well. I still think it's a good movie. I really like a lot of the scenes in it. But...
Is that the one? Because I like that movie as a whole. I'm sure there would probably be individual pieces of it where I'm like, ugh, gross, like with every Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he hooks up with?
She's introduced in this movie.
Oh, okay.
They don't hook up yet.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they hook up in Civil War.
Mm. I was never a big fan of that.
Yeah.
But that's just
kind of funny.
It's funny in a fucked up way. Yeah. It's just oh my god,
especially because at the end of his story, then he goes back with
right, and it's just I wonder if he ever told her. He's like, look, I just need to get this off my chest.
I fucked your niece. But yeah, and then I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Oh, I watched Space Jam 2 the same day that I watched The Green Knight. So that was some whiplash in quality. Space Jam 2 was fucking awful.
Yeah.
No surprise there, but Big Chungus was in it for half a frame.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh god.
At one point, it's like Bugs is talking to LeBron. He's like, "Oh, look at me!" Like, wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. And then I watched Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker, and then this morning I watched The House on Sorority Row.
Yeah, I watched them both this morning.
I watched Butcher Baker 4 days ago. So.
Yeah. I guess you just want to...
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Right into it?
Which one of these came out first?
They both came out in 1982, I believe. So it just depends on which month they came out. Because, like I said, after like Halloween came out, they were like... Studios were just pumping these movies out because they were really cheap to make.
Well, I'm not going to look up which one came out first.
Let's just cover... Which one did you watch first?
I watched Butcher Baker first.
I watched that one second, but we can talk about it.
Let's do that. Hinatea watched this with me.
Oh, nice.
And she really doesn't like a lot of 80s horror movies. But she liked this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I liked this one, too. But... yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I don't know. There are parts of it that I really like. I really like the central performance, as in the aunt / mom.
Yeah, the kid's okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
Serviceable.
Yeah,
does a good job.
Yeah, he's good enough. And I like a lot of the elements in this movie. Like I like.
It felt like a more. I don't want to say. Like, this movie reminded me a lot of like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 in the fact that it's kind of like it's gay, but it's not gay.
Yeah, but they're intentional in what they're people. That's so Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Thinking about that and being like, yeah, we didn't think about it was gay. I guess like people.
What? There's a scene where the coach like gets whipped in the shower. That's not gay.
And the whole time it's about this like guy who thinks he has like a demon. What? We don't get it.
Yeah. And
well, this one is like, yeah, we're gonna talk explicitly about like gay issues and like bigotry.
Yeah, this movie definitely goes in a lot of uncomfortable places. Like,
oh yeah,
the whole catalyst for the movie is like a fake rape.
Yeah.
And then it leads into this really fucking gross cop who's just like, I fucking hate gay people.
Yeah. No, but that's like, a lot of my enjoyment was this movie is like, how intense it, like, it doesn't care. It's like, yeah, we'll do this. We'll talk about, like, how white women, especially, there is such a thing as, like, crocodile tears where they just want to, like, you know.
Yeah. We've all seen that video of the one lady in the
store.
In the store. Yeah. I can't remember what store, but I'm sure you know. It came out pretty recently.
No, it can be a scary thing. But it's also, like, immediately, like, and then cops will just not believe women, too. Like, there's the other side of that spectrum. He's like, ah, you fucking liar. And it's like, cool. Everyone in this is a piece of shit. Except the guy who dies. And the coach. The coach is like a really nice guy. And I kept being like, is he gonna start, are they gonna like do a dark turn with him? But no, he was just like a good guy.
For a split second, I thought they were gonna go for the dark ending where the cop just fucking like shoots both of them. And I was like, no! I would have liked that. I would have been like, wow, that was good. But I thought this was a really like satisfying ending. Like it probably wouldn't, it wasn't as like powerful. I think like the climax is fine. The actual ending I think is kind of stupid because it's like the boy and the girl like hugging together and it just freeze frames and has like, they went to college and they were happy.
Okay, yeah, that was dumb. It was like, okay, they ran out, but they're done. This movie was pretty low budget.
It's like you didn't need to have that. You could have just ended with like them being do the typical 80s slasher where it ends with a kind of like melancholic but hopeful like doo doo doo.
Yeah. I mostly meant I like I like that he shot the cop.
Yes.
I like the climax. Yeah. And even though they have a climax because the central villain is the mom / aunt. Mm-hmm. But then there's this secondary guy that then comes in. I thought, like, the pacing was kind of weird because of that. Because it's like, and now he's back. But overall, I like that part. And I laughed out loud when the fucking text appeared. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, it's just one of those, like, endings where it's just, like, really tonally just, like, what the hell? Like, it's not The Handmaiden. That's a newer one, right? It's like Park Chan-wook's.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the one that we watched?
It might just be...
I think it's just The Handmaid, isn't it?
The Handmaid, I think.
Yeah. Good movie. Terrible fucking, like, actual point that it ends on, because it just basically ends with a guy going like, yes, you just witnessed a tragedy. Did you enjoy? And it's just like...
kind of funny, though.
It's funny, but it's just, like, completely...
Oh,
like,
The Housemaid.
The Housemaid, yeah. The Handmaid.
I'm like, what the fuck is a handmaid?
I didn't even think about it when I was saying it, but it does sound kind of fucking weird. Anyway, but yeah, this movie's fun. I wouldn't have kept drinking the milk. I probably would have caught on after the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I get, I do like. So, as a brief overview of the movie, a little boy, a 17-year-old, he lives with his aunt because his parents died in an accident when he was like 4, I think, or something like that. 5, 3, something like that. Where their brakes got cut, and it's really obvious from the beginning that it was on. That, like, the movie doesn't like make that a mystery or anything. They're like, yeah, but he loves her, and she's like really, really doting and really creepy from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. She's like purring on him, and she's like, "Hello, my sweetie." I'm like, "Huh." Yeah. But he's like, okay, the coach said I can get into a good college. I don't know why he's British.
Yeah, I've got a scholarship through basketball, and she's like,
basketball.
She's like, absolutely not. I've got a job lined up for you. And he's just like, what? And she's like, all right, fine. We can do this. We'll send you to college. But then she's basically like, hey, can you send like the TV repair guy over here? You know him, right? You're familiar with him. Yeah, just send him over. Yeah. Just send him over.
And she like tries to just like frame him for
rape.
For rape. So that the son like won't leave because he'll feel like, oh God, I can't leave my aunt here. But she ends up killing this guy because he like pushes her off, and he's like, fuck you, I don't want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
And the son, he's walking home right as this happens, and he walks by the window, he's like, whoa.
Yeah. And he basically witnesses like the push and then the stab. Yeah. Or at least it looks like he witnesses.
But he believes his aunt.
Yeah.
Because like she's been nothing but like caring for him all his life. But the cops don't believe him, and then he's getting like harassed. They find out that the repairman was in a gay affair with the coach. Mm-hmm. The coach decides to quit. So there's a lot of like stuff about the gay people.
Yeah, the main cop is like
super, super asshole.
Yeah, like to the point where he's like going up to like high school girls and going like, "You slept with that guy, right? I need to know if he's gay." Like, he doesn't use that. He doesn't use that term, by the way. He
uses the F slur like religious, like a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the movie is him going around like, I need to bust this guy, and then
and it's not just him. Then the aunt starts being super homophobic. She's like, "Gay people are not well."
Yeah, and I was just at that point,
I'm like, neither are you.
What the hell? You're right. And then there's one cop who's like, "This aunt seems awfully suspicious. I think she said she killed him. I think she actually killed him.
It's just like a
piece is missing."
He's like, "No, it must be the gay boy."
And he's like, all right, I'm just going to do my own investigating then. And then he gets killed.
Yeah.
But he lets everybody know where he was at. So then when the climax of the film happens, which is basically what ends up happening, to sum it up shortly, the aunt keeps drugging the kid's milk. She first drugs it before his basketball game. That's going to get him a scholarship because she pretends to be like, oh yeah, I'm fully supportive of you now. Just here, drink some milk and I'll go watch your game. And he drinks the milk and he ends up falling asleep during the game.
Like smashes into the fucking, just the wall.
Yeah. And so basically she takes him home. She keeps drugging him. One of the neighbor ladies finds out the truth that, oh no, she is actually his biological mother. But she was nuts, so they basically custody of him went to her sister or brother or whatever.
Yeah, well, no, they adopted her. They adopted him originally, and then she's like, I want him back. And I don't think she ever even said that. I think she's just like, I have to kill them.
Oh,
because she was not well.
Yeah, she also killed the father.
The father, because he was leaving them, and she kept his body and his head pickled, or just in their basement, or like in their like foundation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then basically,
she kills the friend. She kills the cop.
She knocks out his girlfriend.
Yeah. We think she might be dead but no, she's alive. And and then there's a big confrontation at the end. He kills his aunt, or does she kill?
So he basically, she goes to attack him, and he stabs her once, and they do the fake out death, and he gets her with a fire poker again, and she actually dies.
That's right.
And then she does that weird thing where she kisses him on the lips right before she dies, and it's like, oh, gross. And then, the cop comes in and he's like, I'm gonna kill these gay people. Because he called the coach. Because he's like, well, I can't trust the cops, clearly. So I'm gonna call Coach, the only dependable guy in my life. And, then the cop shows up. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. And then, I don't remember.
He does shoot the coach, doesn't he?
I don't think he shoots the coach. But I want to say... I think he might shoot at the coach, but the coach is fine at the end of the movie. He's not, like, injured or dead or anything. But basically, Billy somehow gets the gun.
They have an altercation. Maybe?
I just jumped to the most, like, cliche white 80s character name I could fucking think of. So Billy grabs the gun and fucking...
Yeah, it's Billy Lynch.
Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure I wasn't just imagining things. But Billy shoots the cop, and then the other cop comes in, and he's like,
He's like, I fucking hated that guy, whatever.
He's like, I get it. Okay, yeah.
I'm like, that guy was the worst.
So, that's Billy Batter Bookaba.
And Ted Nicolau edited it.
Yeah, the guy who directed Subspecies. And
there's a world where Ted Nicolau got into a studio that wasn't Full Moon, and he became famous. I think about that a lot. That there are a lot of directors that I think are competent to good that work for Full Moon that could have done something big.
Oh, dude, I think about that on a wide perspective all the time. How there's probably lots of people who probably could be capable of doing great things, but just
don't have the resources, or they get stuck doing yeah. Sad
capitalism.
Yeah. The editing in this movie's fantastic. No, it's fine. It wasn't where's that Ted Nicolau special editing? It was just it was good. It was.
Yeah, I didn't notice any bad editing. Yeah. So that's great by early 80s slasher standards.
That's true. In general, I think a lot of the production stuff for this movie is pretty good for being low, but the camera quality is not great but the effects are fun enough, and I really like that central performance, and I think the coach is good. I think everyone's serviceable to good in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun.
Definitely leans on the corny side.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'm okay with that kind of thing.
I personally had a lot of fun with this one.
Like I said, I don't really feel particularly strong one way or the other about it. I think it's pretty decent. Yeah.
But you also have a lot bigger scope of 80s horror than me, so I understand where you're coming from. I've seen maybe a couple dozen, maybe a dozen, I don't know, but you've stayed up every day. I'm gonna watch every 80s horror movie ever made except for Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker.
When I was a kid, I had FearNet on demand, and I would just watch through all of what they had, and a lot of them were just cheap 80s slashers and shit like that. So
I watch every Sleepaway Camp.
I did.
That's unfortunate.
Well, I haven't watched. I've watched the first 3.
2's fantastic.
2 and 3, I haven't watched them since I was 12, but they don't focus on the thing that Sleepaway Camp is known for.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same killer, but they, like, never reference it. So, I mean, they're basically just, like, fun camp slashers. And, I mean, I'm not the person to make the case for the original Sleepaway Camp, but I think it's a cathartic movie. But I haven't watched it in a really long time, so...
That's fair. I haven't seen it. Like, I just know what happens, but... Yeah.
It's the fun thing about horror. Even though, like, the killer might be, like, clearly the bad guy of the film, they're usually, like, kind of, like, what you root for in a horror movie a lot of the time. So it's like...
Yeah.
It can be.
Like in this movie. I was like, yeah, let's let this lady.
I don't
Yeah, let's keep her at home.
I don't think I was particularly rooting for any character in this movie.
I was definitely not rooting for her, though, because she was like, I'm going to have sex with my son.
Yeah, of course. Like, I surely wasn't rooting for her or the cop, so I guess that left Billy by default.
Billy!
I was rooting for the coach more than anybody.
The coach! Yeah.
But, yeah. Butcher Baker Baba Boo.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey. You would give this one like a 6 or a 7.
Give it a 7. You would give this one maybe a 5? Yeah, 5. Cool. Let's talk about the Richard Band movie. Let's talk about House on Sorority Row, directed by Mark Rossman, who did like a Cinderella Story. And he did a movie called, I think it was Life Size, Tyra Banks. It was
Cinderella Story is the boxing movie, right?
No. That's just...
That's Cinderella Man.
Yeah.
Cinderella Story is probably a Cinderella.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Is that one of those like Disney ones that came out? Doesn't one of them have Selena Gomez or Hilary Duff in it?
Yeah, that's the one with Hilary Duff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He made that. He made a lot of movies like that. House on Sorority Row is like the one exception. Which is weird.
Everyone's got to get their start in horror.
But Richard Band did the composition. And it doesn't feel like a Richard Band composition to me.
Yeah,
I really like the opening track. Like, it's fun. It doesn't feel like Richard Band, but I like it. It's like fun, and then the rest is just like...
This is also probably like pre... Well, this is most definitely like pre his heyday with the Full Moon. So he didn't develop that fun...
Also, this movie's not very good.
Yeah, this one...
Like, I didn't hate it, but I was just kind of like...
This one out of the two is definitely more so on the generic side.
Yeah.
My big problems with this one...
I've seen Black Christmas already, so like...
Yeah, this one's very samey to
like
Black Christmas, and it's got like things from like... There's a movie called It's Alive that's about this mother who takes an experimental medication while she's like pregnant, and it results in the baby killing every doctor in the operating room and going crazy and like...
Yeah, that's by Larry Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but
That movie is tonally very weird, but I very much enjoy it. I haven't watched it in a long time, though. I have to add that caveat to movies that I used to really enjoy, but it's like, I'm not sure if I will anymore.
That's fair. He wrote something that he wrote Phone Booth.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
He wrote Phone Booth, and Phone Booth was originally like, he was trying to get Hitchcock to make it. And Hitchcock was like, I don't know if I can make a long enough movie with this premise. Like, he liked it. And they're like, I'll get Joel Schumacher to do it 20 years later.
There you go.
But yeah, this movie, it's like, it has some things I like about it, but in general, I was a little bored.
Yeah.
It was just like...
Basic premise. College sorority. A bunch of girls stand behind, or like a handful of girls stand behind for like a party. Yeah. While everyone's like leaving for, is it like a holiday or something?
It's summer. It's summer vacation. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, they're about to graduate. They throw a little party, and then the house mother comes back, and she basically she went more or less the same thing I just described from It's Alive, where she was going through like an experimental thing. Except in this case, it was to get pregnant instead of during just pregnancy in general. So she ended up the film, it seems like for the first, like, little while, it wants to lead you to believe that the house mother, like, it affected her, and it seems like it did affect her,
but
mentally, but she gave birth, like, she had a child, and the child was the fucked up thing that they keep referencing throughout the movie. And yeah, so basically, the sorority girls don't like the house mother, because she's kind of a bitch. So they decide to pull a prank on her that ends with her getting shot by a real gun. So they decide, they're like, all right, well, a bunch of people are showing up to party.
Like right now.
Right now. So let's throw her in a pool and just leave her there. Which I thought that was probably the most interesting part of this movie. Because it's like, it's something.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, it was definitely the most engaging part. Like them just trying to like, and then they just keep moving the body. Like, we gotta hide it.
Yeah, they keep trying to get rid of the body because it keeps like popping up in places. And they're like, how did it get here? We gotta get rid of this. So eventually they decide to go bury it in a cemetery. And do you remember what the final girl's name is?
No, I only remember Vicky's name.
I'm gonna call her Christy. I don't think it is, but it sounds close enough.
That sounds close.
So basically, Christy... Catherine's the nice girl. She's the girl who's like, we should call the cops.
And they're like, no!
Prank her.
No!
And then the whole movie, she's like, okay, I'll just go with you guys because I can't stand up to peer pressure right now. And it's like, that's probably... I don't like her character. I didn't...
I'm like, you're just as bad as all of the rest of these people.
Yeah, but the movie wants to, like, kind of capture you in a light where you're like, nah, I'm not as bad. And it's like, no, you're just as bad. But, yeah, so basically, sorority girls die. All of them die. And then,
she survives.
Yeah.
The doctor shows up and he's like, I have to use you as bait to capture him again. It's like, why?
Yeah. Because he's also nuts. And then
he dies.
And then he dies, and it turns out that there's this big clown up in the attic this whole fucking time, and it turns out he was the kid. And it's like, no shit.
Well, earlier it was just the costume. Because they, like, lift up the mask, and I'm like... Why does he have that? Why as an adult did this mother go and buy him this creepy clown costume? Because he couldn't have gone and got it. He was living in the attic.
Right.
Why did she go buy this?
Probably because he really liked his little Jack in the Box.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, and then he dies, and then he opens his eyes and the movie ends.
Yeah. It's literally like a 1-minute confrontation where we actually see him in the clown costume, and it's like... She just, like, stabs him once and he falls down the stairs. And that's, like, it. And then the movie just fucking ends. And it's like, yeah, this is the kind of trash I was kind of expecting. Yeah. This is the kind of, like, lower barrel kind of shit you would expect from this era.
It's just like, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's just like,
it's so
doesn't
generic.
It's super generic, doesn't have any interesting characters or really any interesting kills. There's a lot of off-screen kills. Yeah. I guess the most interesting part was when she went into the bathroom and she saw her friend's head in the toilet.
Yeah.
But
you could, like, go through and cherry pick out, like, little plot points from films that had come out within, like, the last 3 years before it. So it's like, one of those kind of movies, just in to cash in on the scene. Which, I mean, a lot of these movies are like that.
Yeah,
it happens,
and they can still be good, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
This one just wasn't. It just. And Richard Band, you disappointed me. That first song was good. That band they got for this movie wasn't great either.
No.
They were fine, I guess.
That's one of my favorite things about this era of, like, 80s movies.
Is having just actual bands play a bunch of their songs. That's my jam.
Yeah, because it's just, they were all, like, real bands that probably just were like, this is going to be our big break. And then they never, ever fucking was.
I looked up them, and they disbanded, like, 2 years after this movie came out, too.
Yeah. Yeah, there are plenty of like famous cases of like bands like and soundtracks coming out like they're like, yeah, you can buy the soundtrack, and then you could never buy the soundtrack. And it's just like, yeah. But
they were just like really generic. They fit the movie really well because they were just like a band.
80s sound, early 80s rock band that hasn't quite developed into hair metal, but is like making its way kind of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd give this one like a 3?
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's a little on the generous side, but yeah, that's probably about right. You would give this one a 4.
No, I think I'll also give this one a 3.
Fair enough.
Okay. We got one more podcast this month because then I'm going to be on vacation. So we get to do your pick unless you want. Do you want to just do your pick or do you want to leave it up to fate?
With how my week's been going, I better not leave it up to fate.
Okay. So what are we watching?
We're going to watch this movie called Astro Zombies from 1968, I believe. Yeah.
The Astro Zombies. You want to watch this?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been listening to The Misfits this week, and I never realized this was a movie. So.
Okay, so we're watching the Astro Zombies.
And then we are going to watch Night of the Comet.
Night of the Comet?
Comet. Like.
From 84?
Yes.
By Tom Eberhardt.
Yes.
It's already on my watch list.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm aware of this one.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I really liked this one when I was a kid. So we'll see how it holds up for me. It's definitely going to have dumb parts. I can remember some dumb parts, but it happens. It's the 80s. They were just about having fun, man.
We were swagging it up. Being lit. Well, cool, we did it. Another episode. Down into the basket. This one's really short. Because these movies, not a lot happened. Woo! Especially that last one.
Yeah, that last one was like, nothing.
Whoa! I won't. We won't. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bada bing, bada boom.